Hello friends, welcome to all. Myself Vishal Jogidas. Today we will discuss about thermoelectric laws and thermistor. In our earlier lecture we have already studied resistance temperature detector, it means RTD, and thermocouple for temperature measurement. Today we will see the third device, that is thermistor, and it is also used for measurement of temperature. And also we will discuss about thermoelectric laws, that is used for the thermocouple. Now let us see first thermoelectric laws. There are certain laws by which the thermocouple circuits behave. These laws are called as thermoelectric laws, and this is the first law of thermoelectric. What is this? The application of heat to a single homogeneous metal is in itself not capable of producing an electric current. It means if we have to produce electric current just like in a thermocouple, then we have to use two dissimilar metals. From single metals we cannot produce electric current. So this is the first law of thermoelectric, and this is the used in the thermocouple. Now law of intermediate metals. This is the second law. What is this? Insertion of an intermediate metal into a thermocouple circuit will not affect the EMF voltage output so long as the two junctions are at the same temperature and the material is homogeneous. See, this law states that if third metal is inserted in the thermocouple, here we can see this is the figure. In the upper side there is the metal A and here is the metal B, and the metal C is inserted in between metal B, but the condition is the two junctions of B and C, temperature of these two junctions should be equal. It means here is temperature T3, then here is also temperature should be T3. Okay, and how can we join the intermediate metal? So it permits solders and welded joints. Okay, so these two way we can join the third metal. Okay, here we can see the figure. Here is a thermocouple, and in between this there is another metal is inserted in between these two. So output voltage will be not affected due to this third metal introduced in the system. So second law states that this, and this is known as law of intermediate metals, because the metal is introduced in the intermediate stage, so it is known as intermediate metals. Now here is the demonstration of law of intermediate metals. Okay, so here we can see this how the number is given and what is the output. So here we can see here is the carbon and iron, two metals are there, two different metals we have used, and equivalent circuit of this first one is this. Okay, so Due to this intermediate metal, the output is not affected. Iron is used as a positive electrode, carbon is used as a negative electrode. Okay, so this is the signs used for the metals used in this case. Okay, here we can see reference temperature T reference, then here is the T2 and 4, the temperature in between 2 and 4. Okay, and here is the measured temperature. Okay, so this is the way how can we demonstrate these intermediate metals, and this is the second law of thermoelectric. Now, law of intermediate temperature. See, we have already seen the two laws. This is the third law, and let us see what is this. If a thermocouple circuit develops a net EMF E12 for measuring junction temperatures T1 and T2, and a net EMF 23 for temperatures T2 and T3, okay, then it will develop a net voltage of EMF 13 is equal to EMF 12 plus EMF 23 when the junctions are at temperatures T1 and T3. So this law states that it is a intermediate temperature. Now here we can see the figure. Here we can see temperature T1 and T2. Okay, so EMF produced due to this temperature T1 and T2 is EMF 12. Okay, and here we can see this temperature T2 and T3. So EMF produced due to this T3 and T2 is EMF 23, and here we can see this T3 and T1. In between these two temperatures there is an intermediate temperature T2. Okay, but in a last case there is a T3 and T1. Okay, so the EMF produced due to EMF 12 and EMF 23 will be algebraic sum of these two EMFs, and EMF 13 is the algebraic sum of EMF 12 and EMF 23. So this is the law of intermediate temperatures. So it is very simple. Okay, if the EMF produced due to this T1, T2 and T2, T3 are added together, then we get the EMF between T1 and T3. This is the demonstration of the law of intermediate temperatures. Here we can see, here is the temperature T1, T2 and T3. T2 will be the intermediate temperature. Okay, two metals are, we can see here, carbon and iron, and temperature EMF produced due to T1 and T2 is EMF 12, then EMF produced due to T2 and T3 is EMF 23, and EMF produced due to T1 and T3 is EMF 13. So this can be seen from this figure, and here is the equation. EMF 12 plus EMF 23 is equal to EMF 13. So this is the demonstration of law of intermediate temperatures. Now this is also demonstration of law of intermediate temperature. Okay, so this is same as the previous, but here we can see the hot junction. Okay, so in between this there is a temperature change, but it is not affected to the final temperature. Now we will discuss about thermistor. So what is thermistor? Thermistor is nothing but one type of resistor. we can say that it is a thermal resistor. Okay, so resistance of the thermistor is changed due to changing in temperature. This is the principle for the thermistor. So here we can see one figure, and in this figure we can see one resistor. This may be resistance temperature detector, or it may be thermistor. In our case, we will consider it as a thermistor. So this is the thermistor, and we know that the temperature of resistance of thermistor will change due to change in temperature, and this resistance can be measured using ohm meter. So this is the simple way how can we measure the temperature using thermistor. Thermistor is a short term for thermal resistor. Okay, it is a short name for thermal resistor. The device consists of bulk semiconductor device that acts as a resistor with a high and negative temperature coefficient of resistance. So semiconductor material is used for making the thermistor, and we know that the temperature coefficient of thermistor will be negative. Okay, sometimes it is as high as -6% per degree Celsius rise in temperature. So this is the principle of thermistor. Now, what is meaning of negative temperature coefficient? Negative temperature coefficient means if we are increasing the temperature, at that time the resistance is decreases. So this is known as negative temperature coefficient. Due to this property, of high sensitivity, this is a huge resistance change for the small change in temperature. See, this is the advantage for thermistor, because if there is a small change in temperature, then as a reflection there is a large change in the resistance. So sensitivity is very high for thermistor. So we can consider this as a advantage. The thermistor is mainly applicable in precision temperature measurement, temperature control, and temperature compensation, especially in a lower temperature range of -100 degrees Celsius to +300 degrees Celsius. So due to this high sensitivity, thermistor is used for precision temperature measurement or temperature control, and also used in temperature compensation. But its limitation is its temperature range is -100 degrees Celsius to +300 degrees Celsius. So we can consider this as a limitation or disadvantage as compared to RTD and thermocouple. This is the symbol of thermistor. In a single line diagram, we can see this type of symbol for thermistor. Now, types of thermistor. Thermistors are broadly divided into two categories according to the temperature coefficient. One is the positive temperature coefficient, it means PTC, and another one is negative temperature coefficient thermistor, it means NTC. Now, for studying about the different types of thermistors, it is important to understand the formula which shows the linear relationship between resistance and temperature. Okay, before starting this, we will focus on the mathematical formula. As a first order approximation, the change in resistance is equal to first order temperature coefficient of resistance times the change in temperature. It means dr is equal to k into dt. dr is change in resistance and dt is change in temperature. K is the coefficient. So from this formula we can define this, okay, where dr is the change in resistance, K is the first order temperature coefficient of resistance, and dt is a change in temperature that we have already seen. If the value of temperature coefficient of resistance K is positive, an increase in temperature increases the resistance. See, we have already seen that if the value of temperature coefficient is positive, it means if the temperature is increases, the resistance is also increases, and such device can be called a positive temperature coefficient thermistor. Okay, now what is NTC? If the value of K is negative, an increase in temperature will decrease the resistance value. Such a device is called a negative temperature coefficient. Okay, so this is the two types of thermistors. Now, relationship between resistance and temperature, or we can say that characteristics curve for the thermistor. So this characteristics curve is nothing but it is a graph of resistance versus temperature. In x-axis we can see the temperature, in y-axis we can see resistivity. So we can see here, as the temperature is increases, if we are going from left to right, it means temperature is increases, at that time the resistance is decreases. Okay, so this curve is for negative temperature coefficient. This states that there is a negative resistance temperature coefficient. Now, construction of thermistors. Thermistors are composed of sintered mixture of metallic oxides such as manganese, nickel, cobalt, copper, iron or uranium. See, in the construction of a thermistor, there are a mixture of different materials that we have mentioned in this. Okay, they are available in variety of sizes and shapes. So as per our requirement, we can use different sizes and shapes. Thermistors may be in the form of beads, probes, rods and disc. Okay, so these are the shape and sizes, different types of thermistors. Some of the commercial form of these thermistors are shown in these figures. Now we will see in figure. Okay, these are the some commercial types of thermistors. Okay, so we can see this type of thermistor we can mount using bolt. Okay, this is also thermistor, this is thermistor. So this is the different types of commercial thermistors. Here we can see this thermistor is in the form of IC. So in the form of IC there is also available thermistors. Okay, so we can use type of thermistor as per our requirements. Now here is the comparison of resistance temperature detector, thermocouple
and thermistor. Okay, so we have already seen RTD and thermocouple. Okay, here we can see the characteristics, resistance and temperature characteristics. So characteristics of RTD is somewhat linear. Okay, so the relations between resistance and temperature in RTD is linear. Okay, and for other things, it is advantages are, first one is most accurate, then best stability, then higher linearity, and best interchangeability, then wide temperature range. So these are the advantages of RTD. Now what are the disadvantages of RTD? Current source required, smaller resistance change, this is also one issue. Then low absolute resistance, self heating is there, and higher sensor cost. So these are the disadvantages. See, we know that from any resistance, if current is flowing through any resistance, then there is a I square R loss, and due to this, there is a heating is present. So this is the disadvantage in RTD. And temperature range is minus 260 degrees Celsius to plus 850 degree Celsius. So this is the good as compared to thermistor. Okay, so this is all about RTD. Now what is thermocouple? So this is the graph of output voltage versus temperature, and this is not a linear as the RTD. Now what are the advantages? Latest variety of styles, then self-powered. See, it is a self-powered, it means it is an active transducer. RTD is not self-powered, so it is a passive transducer. External power supply is needed in RTD. But in case of thermocouple, it is self-powered, so it is an active device. Then construction is rugged construction, and temperature range is largest among these three. Small size and fast response. So these are the advantages of thermocouple. Now disadvantages: lowest stability, then a low voltage output, and characteristics is non-linear, then cold junction reference is needed, and lowest sensitivity. So these are the disadvantages of thermocouples. Now thermistor, the characteristics of thermistor, or graph of resistance versus temperature of thermistor, is non-linear. Here we can see, as the temperature is increases, the resistance is decreases. It means there is a negative temperature coefficient. Now what are the advantages? High resistance values, then large resistance change, then 2 wire ohms measurement, low sensor cost, and small size and fast response. So these are the advantages of thermistor. Now what are the disadvantages? Limited temperature range, then current source required. Say it is not active transducer, so current source is required. Then non-linear characteristics that we have seen above. Then self-heating. Because of resistance, we know that whenever the current is flowing through resistance, the I square R losses are there, and due to this I square R loss, the heating will be there. So there is a self heating. Then fragile. So these are the disadvantages. And temperature range, it is from minus 80 to 300 degree centigrade. So temperature range is limited as compared to RTD and thermocouple, but in other aspects there are some advantages also. So these three are the major temperature transducers used in industries. As per our requirement, we can select appropriate transducers. Thank you.